When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hey guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. Now let's continue where we last left off in our story. The moment the three entered the pitch black tunnel, as some sort of lens lowered down in the eye sockets of the cowls of Batman and Batgirl. As the lens glow red, signifying that the night vision is active. Deku did notice it. He assumes it's most likely some night vision. He did not remark on it. Deku only took the oil lamp that's hanging on the side of the wall once you first entered the tunnel and walked forward using the lantern for light. Deku isn't that surprised that Batman has some sort of night vision. He seems to have gizmos attached to his utility belt. That's not including the high events Batman suit that the Batman is wearing currently. Deku suspects Batman has backing by someone that has a whole lot of money. Only one that came to mind that has that sort of income to throw around, that's not affiliated with the criminal underworld of Gotham. Only one billionaire comes to mind, Bruce Wayne. But at the end of the day, Deku doesn't really care. He has no interest in how Batman maintains his nightlife or his mysterious benefactor. Those sort of intel is not too important to him currently. If he had the desire and patience, he probably could uncover Batman's identity and his benefactor, but he doesn't have that time to waste. Deku has only returned to Gotham City to remove the presence of the Court of Owls and kill all the senior members of the organization. Batman did put a dent in his plans. That's why he won't be able to kill them personally. Fox will take care of that. He just has to keep the Batman occupied, while Fox neutralizes all the key members of the organization and find out what they're actually looking for. After traveling the long tunnel for several miles, they finally got to the end of the tunnel with no sight of the Court of Owls. Deku was surprised by the mere gap of the city. By the look of it, it looks like to be the same size of New Gotham. Meanwhile, the Court of Owls have been moving outside of the United States. They made the mistake of going after someone called All For One. As you can see, All For One sitting on his throne. While there's several corpses scattered all around the floor with their owl mask still on a couple of their faces, and the rest of them are all charred, and their attire with pitch black clothes. Got the owl mask identifying that they're affiliated with the Court of Owls. You see one man laying dead on the floor, with his head cave in by something that struck his face with extreme force, as you see another Court of Owls member, unrecognizable, was burnt alive, as you see scattered remains of blue fire all around the room. The Fools attacked All for One when Shigaraki, Dabi were all in a meeting with All for One. All for One stares down at the only remaining Court of Owl member that is actually alive, as the two villainesses put him to the floor. Dabi, she has his hand behind his back, while Toga had a knife against her throat. So you must be the Court of Owls I've been hearing so much about. I've known about your organization for quite some time now. I just never bothered with your pathetic Court of Owls, a bunch of rich brats throwing a tantrum because they can't get their way. Nothing but spoiled children. Toga dear, why don't you go and spend some quality time with our esteemed guest and get any information out of him? After you bind him, of course. With pleasure, Sensei. Come on, Dabi. I can't wait to break in my new toy. I have a feeling this is going to get messy. Let's get this over with, Toga. I have things to do. All for One waited until the two girls left the room through the portal as another portal opened up, revealing his protege. You wanted to see me, Sensei? As the portal reveal a girl around her 17 and 18 years old, with long blue hair and a long sleeve black shirt with black pants, wearing red shoes, kneeling down in front of All for One. As you know, we were just attacked by the Court of Owls. I could easily take care of this myself, but this is the perfect opportunity to see how much you've learned. So how would you handle these Court of Owls in my place, my young student? Locate their main base of operation, figure out who are all the key members, then eliminate them. Without the figureheads to control the organization will fall upon itself. From several members trying to gain more power, then we can easily kill them off, the remaining members of these Court of Owls. Sensei, if I remember right, they mostly stay in Gotham. At least that's what you told me years ago, when the Court of Owls were brought up in one of your lectures. If I remember right, that boy you've been keeping a close eye on resides in that city as well. The prodigal son of Gotham has returned from his trip to Alaska. You can kill anyone you want, but the boy must be untouched. You could test him and his capabilities, but no killing. After all, I'll be sending a prototype Nomu for that occasion. I see you want me to test out the new Nomu that will put in a battle simulation against this Deku. If I remember right. Yes, that is the name he goes by. He has a most impressive ice manipulation power. It is still unknown if he has a quirk, or he's some sort of metahuman. Regardless of his power origins, they're still impressive, nonetheless. As you wish, Sensei. I'll leave as soon as Toga is done with her little play date. One of those Court of Owl members. They'll regret messing with the League of Villains. I'll make sure of that. Their leaders will feel my wrath. To even think of attempting to challenge you, Sensei. I'll make an example out of them. I have no doubt you will, my daughter. I'll take my leave, Sensei. I have much to prepare for. Shigaraki walked through the portal back to the bar to prepare herself for a little trip to Gotham City. In the meantime, she has to make up her mind if she should take Toga along. Toga is a little too unstable for this type of job. She's nowhere near weak, but her habits will get too many eyes upon them. There's something she doesn't want. She doesn't want to get involved with the Cape Crusader Batman if she could help it. So Dabi is her best option. Brutal, but professional to a point. Beside that, the Court of Owls don't normally show their faces. They usually wear some sort of owl mask. So Toga's quirk wouldn't be so useful on this job. She could always put Toga on a recon around Gotham, while herself and Dabi make their way to Old Gotham. So she decided that will be her game plan. It was only one phone call away to summon the prototype Nomu by portal by her personal attendant, Kirigiri. But it didn't take her long to see Toga with a frown on her face as she's cleaning her bloody knife with a cloth, and Dabi's not too far behind her. By the look on your face, you got what intel you needed. That I did, boss lady. Apparently, Sensei is the only person that took an interest in Deku-kun. The Court of Owls are after Deku-kun for some own reason. I'm guessing it has something to do with their Talon project. I read the intel you gave me, and I'm not liking it. See, Sensei would be most displeased if that would have happened. Alright girls, we're taking a little trip to Gotham. Toga, I want you to stay in Gotham just to keep your ears out for some useful information, while me and Dabi handle whatever is going on in Old Gotham. Toga frowned at being kept out of the action. Don't worry, Toga, there'll be plenty of chances for you to let loose as a part of this job. This is not a stealth-based operation. The point of this mission is in total destruction. But if you spot any Court of Owls in Gotham, feel free to eliminate them. I believe they do have several bases on Gotham to keep you busy. Here, as Shigaraki handed her a piece of paper that has several addresses to several of the Court of Owls operation in Gotham. Toga formed a devilish smile and took the piece of paper with the address on it and put the piece of paper in her little pouch that's around her waist. It's a bit of a utility belt that still holds small items that she had made. She also has throwing knives stored in there as well, just in case. 5 minutes later, all three girls entered the portal, then reappearing in Gotham City. You know what to do. Don't have too much fun now. As Shigaraki watch Toga skip off into the crowd of people. Let's go. There should be an entrance to Old Gotham nearby. I've only seen pictures of it, but it's close, according to the map. So what can you tell me about this deck I've heard from Sensei mention several times that you've been keeping eyes on with Toga? What I've learned from the observing from afar, he's very serious, very cold-hearted, and he is fully capable of killing. What I've seen of him, that's most likely a last resort. I'm guessing how his personality works. But if he finds you too dangerous, he'll be left with no choice but to not to let you live. He won't hesitate by ending your life, if he deems you a threat. He's been out of Gotham for quite some time. I lost track of him when he went to Alaska. And knowing what I know of his personality, there's a good chance that he might have teamed up with the Batman. They have crossed paths once in the past, according to my knowledge. And the boy's smart, so it's not really out of character for him to team up with the local Cape Crusader. Rather work with the man than get in his way. See, I was afraid of that. No matter, the plan remains the same. We're to enter Old Gotham until locate all the figureheads of the Court of Owls, then eliminate them. And if we manage to cross paths with Deku, then we'll test him. But until then, no detours to the mission. Do we even know where they're even at, Shigaraki? That we do, my friend. Sensei doesn't deem these Court of Owls a threat, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know where they're located at. Let's go. This should be interesting. And definitely be entertaining, at least. It's been a while since I took part in a massacre. Don't be fooled, my friend. It's going to be a massacre. And like I said, if we cross paths with Deku and the Batman, let the new prototype Nomu that I plan to summon to test Deku's abilities. And if Batman finds himself in the direction of the Nomu and gets killed, I won't stress over it. After all, he doesn't have powers. How much of a threat could he really be? I don't know why Sensei is so cautious about that man. He's powerless. Running around in a pajamas, dressed up like a bat, fighting crime. It's preposterous, really. Shigaraki and Dabi went on their way and went through some boarded up plies of wood that was attached to a very old antique shop. As they entered through the boarded up door, only as she gazed into the room, only to see a large bookcase. As she pulled a purple book halfway, as the shelf revealed a secret passage, both girls descend through the secret passage, going down the stairs. When they finally got to the end of the stairway, they went through the door, as they found themselves coming out of a wall, as the wall kind of separated, revealing a door as they walked through the door, as the way back shut, right behind them. Well, this place looks like an entire ghost town. I don't know much about Old Gotham. It was abandoned for some unknown reason, and they built the new Gotham on top of it for some reason. A lot of the history has been lost. When I first heard about it, I tried to find anything that I could, but whoever wanted this place to be lost in history sure did a thorough job by destroying every evidence describing this place. Shigaraki was about to talk further, only for her to get interrupted by several Court of Owl assassins surrounding both girls. How boring. Not even a single one of those talons I keep hearing about. What the hell is a talon? A undead warrior. They're quite similar to Nomus. In my honest opinion, the talons are a knockoff version of the Nomu that the crazy doctor creates in his laboratory. They're basically superior weapons, if you get down to it. Genetic weapons, but weapons nonetheless. I'll handle this, Shigaraki. Very well. Be my guest. Before the Court of Owls could do anything else, blue fire surrounded them instantly, trapping them in a ring of fire as Dabi proceeded to throw fire, cremating the rest of the assassins at the same time. Shall we go? As the fire dissipated. I suppose we should. As we cut back to Deku and Batman and Batgirl, well, the three group, to Deku's group, just entering Old Gotham. The instant they walked into Old Gotham, they were immediately faced with resistance by a large group of Court of Owls assassins and normal grunts, equipped with assault rifles, while the assassins draw out their katanas. They have quite impressive number, wouldn't you agree? We're just fortunate that there's no talons among them, such a large group, but your sentiment is true. It's quite impressive numbers they have on their side. You know, I could easily take care of this. No killing, Deku. Fine, make me do things the hard way. I will perform crowd control. Their numbers is too large. We might have to temporarily separate. I'll contact you once I lose the owls, before Batman could even give a verbal response. Deku shut off with his eyes under his feet. As you see, small groups of Court of Owls flying in the sky, from Deku charging forward into the small army. In several spots, Batman could see frozen assassins from the neck down, not entirely freezing them, but making them unable to move regardless. As Batman and Batgirl fight their way through the streets of Old Gotham, the moment Bruce and Stephanie got in the middle of them, he threw down several flashbangs and fired, as they both fired their grappling hooks to get on top of the building and try to lose them from the rooftops. A few did follow them, but mostly the large group of Court of Owls did not see where Batman and Batgirl went. Only ones that seemed to notice them were gone were the assassins, so they gave chase. At this current time, Deku is seen scaling up on one of the buildings by making huge ice claws over his hands to get to the roof, to get a better view of the city, as he finally lost whatever remaining Court of Owls were following him. He made his way as he saw through the view of his sight. He saw the largest building not too far away. So he could get a better viewpoint of the city. So he decided to head towards the clock tower, where Fox and Deathstroke were fighting in prior. Deku slid on top of one of the roofs. You slid to a stop on one of the top of the roofs that he was traveling upon. Ice wings pop out of his back to give him flight. As he flew up and land on top of the clock tower, the very top, as you can see the full gaze, or the full view of the abandoned city known as Old Gotham. Deku would hover down to the street level as his ice dragon wings shatter into ice particles. Deku stood in the middle of the cracked street, not even moving. As you can see a slight twitch in Deku's hand. What are you doing here, Bane? Isn't it obvious? Nothing personal, but the owls are holding a large portion of my stock of venom, and they refuse to release it. It's what's mine. I just have to simply hand you over to them. Unconscious, of course. I shouldn't be surprised you're going along with this. You're the type of guy that will do anything for money. And I do understand your dilemma. The venom you create is very profitable. Your venom would cause a lot of havoc in the wrong hands, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to decline your gracious offer. Bane. It's a shame, really. I always liked you, Bane. You should know what happens next. People who challenge me don't stay among the living for long. I'm fully aware of your reputation, Deku. Your reputation is well earned during your time with Kagopot. Deku quickly turned around and charged Bane and cocked his hand backwards and threw a punch or strike, hitting Bane, surprising him, as he gets shot backwards like a bullet into a nearby building by Deku smashing his fist into his face. Most people wouldn't expect someone of his body type to have such strength. Deku has always had a super strength factor since his birth. He's not as powerful as someone like a Kryptonian that lives in Metropolis, but strong enough to challenge Superman without being overpowered easily. His super strength quirk comes from his father's genetics. After all, after his body was altered, that turned his father into Mr. Freeze. Bane walked out of the hole of the wall that he just flew through, revealing himself already activated his venom, coursing through his body, increasing his size and muscle mass, providing Bane with inhuman levels of strength. Deku could clearly see the green liquid traveling through the tubes connected to the machine that's on his wrist, that's being currently injected into his body. So you're going all out, just from a simple love tap. As Deku is giving Bane a smirk, that looks more condescending than anything else. I'm dealing with you, Deku. I'm not stupid enough to underestimate you. I've seen I seen your handiwork. I seen your handiwork when your opponents underestimate you. They'll all end up dead. And your mastery of ice is quite terrifying and well known across Gotham. I suppose I have some sort of reputation around Gotham, but no matter. That doesn't matter to me. But what matters to me is you're standing in my way. So let's cut the banter and get to the good part, shall we? I couldn't agree more, kid. Bane got close enough and threw out his huge fist towards Deku. Deku reacted by instinct and used his ice under his feet to spin around the fist, then slam one of his own into Bane's stomach, forcing the man to cough up spit as he goes skidding across the street grounds like a rag doll when he was shot backwards from the stomach punch he just received from Deku. Deku used enough of his strength to cause pain, but not strong enough to break bones. Despite what he said earlier, Deku has no intention of killing Bane. Deku has no problem beating, breaking a few bones, but killing, no. Every interaction he's had with Bane prior has been quite civil, taunting now and then, but civil. It is not very often he has to use his physical strength. He knows he could end this instantly with ice, but that action would most likely kill the man. Batman might not be in the area where he is currently, but he did make a deal with the Bat that he would not kill, and he'll be damned if he breaks his word. He has no intention to start that now. His word is very precious to Deku. Once he says something, he's going to do it. Once he says something, he's going to do it, regardless of anyone that tries to stop him. It didn't take Bane long to recover and started to charge once again towards Deku. Deku simply stood there and waited for his opponent to approach in striking range. Deku lunged aside and went into a spin and landed a medium kick that hit Bane on the side of his waist. Bane knew he would have to take a hit to get a solid strike upon Deku. Bane grunted and pushed past the sharp pain that he feels on the right side of his waist being kicked, and slammed his fist, making contact with Deku's face. Deku grind his feet into the street, stopping the force of the strike, preventing him from going airborne. Deku managed to stop his momentum by going into a spin, then sliding to the side into a spin slide. Deku spit out some blood from his mouth and wiped the blood on the side of his face with the sleeve of his coat. Deku coated his fist with a layer of ice just around his knuckles for more damaging strikes. He could always use a similar technique on his feet, but he hasn't tried it yet. He hasn't tried it before, and there's no way he's going to use a untested technique on the battlefield. He might be able to do it on his hands, but he's not sure how his legs would react. So he was going to stick with his fist coated with ice and just regular kicks that still is able to cause quite a bit of damage because of his super strength. Regardless, he moved forward. He moved so fast he disappeared, then reappeared making after images of himself. Deku jumped in the middle of the air and grabbed Bane by the face and rammed his knee directly in the face of the man, then used his feet to to jump off of Bane's chest, jumping into a backflip, then land on his feet, on one hand on the ground and one knee on the ground. As he places his hand on the ground, as humongous fist comes into existence and begin to land blow after blow onto Bane. While using this technique, he can't remove his hand from any surface while using this ability. He hasn't fully mastered his ability. So, give me a second, guys. He knows it's possible to use this technique without even using his hands. He just needs a solid foot on the surface within his feet would do just the trick, but he hasn't mastered this technique to that extent yet. His ice powers are very versatile. Deku is already a master at just using his creating ice with his powers. It was difficult at first, when he was younger, but over time, just surviving on his Earth, he had to learn fast using his ice and channeling it. The ability to create ice pretty much becomes second nature for him in the beginning. But utilizing his ice powers and creating ways to use it was challenging for Deku. Most people with similar abilities would not take it to the extent that Deku has taken it. But he's extremely glad he did so, because he wants to stick out from all the other ice users on this planet. Ice powers is not something new. It's quite common. One of his huge ice fists hit Bane into a nearby window of an old-fashioned shop. Deku took his hand off the ground and sees the several huge ice fists begin to crack and shatter into ice particles, gently floating to the ground like they're snowflakes. Deku kept his eyes on the old-looking shop that Bane went into through the window, waiting for Bane's next move. Only response for his patience was silence. And getting a little bit impatient, Deku stomped his right foot onto the ground as Bane shot out of the window. As you can see, a huge ice pillar hit Bane in the stomach. Through the window, as Bane was shot out of the window and hit the ground and skid across the street, pretty close to Deku, almost right in front of him. Bane slowly got up as he's bleeding from the mouth. Immediately, Bane tried to hit Deku with an uppercut, only for the ice user to dodge and ram two of his fingers into his forearm. Immediately, his right hand and arm lay to the side limp, unable to move. Bane immediately backed up. "What the hell did you do to me?" "It's quite simple, Bane. I use a pressure point to make your right arm useless for a few hours. I've always been fascinated by pressure points on the human body. You could do so much with hitting a certain pressure point, crippling opponent, or killing them with a simple place of two fingers. It's quite fascinating. I always found the non-direct approach to have much more better results. You're strong, I'll give you that. That's not including when you're jacked up with the venom drug you use so often. That's all you have, Bane, is strength. You don't have the intelligence to utilize your physical prowess to its full potential. A waste of effort. Pity, really." I think it's about time we finish this. I've already wasted too much time here, Bane. Deku rushed forward and created a ice katana. He was moving so fast he made an after image of himself, running while swinging his blade. When Deku was visible once again, his ice katana shattered into millions of ice particles. As you see all the tubes that were connected to the machine from his back to his wrist were all cut at the same time as venom began to pour out of the tubes as Bane slowly turned back to his original size because of the tube being cut, and the venom that's in his system currently is not enough to maintain his current physical form. He reverted back to his original size. Instantly, Deku kicked Bane in the side of the head as he goes flying, hitting a brick wall of a side of a building, knocking him out. Several more figures jump down from the roof. I sort of figured you would act sooner or later. As Deku looks at the different Court of Owls assassins that jump down from the roofs onto the street level, surrounding Deku. Your strategy was very sound. Attack me once either I was defeated or weakened from my fight with Bane. I would be easy prey to gather. Your plan would have worked, but you underestimate me. And people who underestimate me, people who do that, don't tend to live long. I have time to deal with you small fry, so I'm going to have to do something a little more advanced. There's sure a lot of you, and judging by your silence, you're not going to be much of a conversation. I'm not going to hold much of a conversation with any of you. I actually never heard any of you assassins talk before. Not sure you've been able to. But that's not really important right now. As Deku created several ice wingless dragon constructs made of pure ice, alongside with a full-size ice dragon construct, Deku jump onto the back of the ice construct dragon as it took flight while the wingless constructs fight the assassins. Deku doesn't have the time or the patience to fight every single Court of Owl assassin or grunt he come across. Deku has always found it odd that his ice, when he creates a sculpture that's like a bird or a flying mythical creature, like a dragon, has the ability to fly like it's actually a living creature. Every time Deku uses his ice powers to create living ice constructs, they seem to have a mind of their own, like the very ice is alive once they're given a proper form. He was broken out of his deep thoughts on why the Court of Owls are here in Old Gotham. It must be something important for them to focus so much attention in Old Gotham. And Old Gotham is a mystery to itself. He wouldn't be surprised that there's a couple of magical artifacts in the abandoned city. Gotham has always had a strong presence of magic. Deku doesn't use magic, not because he can't, he just doesn't know how. He never bothered with magic lessons that the shrine provides. He knows his elder senior sister is quite adept in that craft. He had every attempt to look into the field of magic to see if he would be good at it, but he kept pushing it back for later. So he mostly focused on more physical training and ice manipulation. After this little incursion is finished, he's definitely going to make some time to learn the craft of magic. But what originally broke him out of his inner thoughts, as Deku could hear several small explosions somewhere in Old Gotham. That originally broke his main train of thought. As the construct of the dragon flew in that direction, after Deku gave it a mental command. When the ice construct lowered down, Deku could see who's causing all the explosions as he sees Batman fighting Deathstroke with Batgirl. Deku, of course, doesn't know who this guy is. He's never met or heard of Deathstroke before. If he could tell from all he could tell is from the gap of what portion of the fight he could see, as the man is quite skilled, fairly experienced, throwing small pellets of some round pellets that's releasing the explosions. As Deathstroke is throwing them hoping they would hit Batman and his sidekick. But unfortunately, that hasn't been going very well for Deathstroke. And Deathstroke doesn't have to worry about collateral damage for any civilians getting away, because this whole place is abandoned. Only thing is in the city is the Court of Owls, and he doesn't really care about them. A ice knife flew through the sky as Deku caught it in his hands. And he went for another pass. He nodded at his senior sister that he saw on one of the roofs, and unfurled the piece of paper that's around the ice weapon that flew flying through the sky. So, that's how it is. So those damn owls are extremely determined to capture me. Probably for some unpleasant reasons, no doubt. As the ice dragon flew low, as Deku jumped off and skid across the street, right in the middle between the fight between Batman and Deathstroke. At this time, Slade has fully recovered from the fight he had with Fox. He only fought Batman because he saw him in the area. They have a history with each other. You two seem to be having fun. I'll take it from here. He's here for me, after all. Isn't that right, Deathstroke? So you were told. Yes, a little fox gave me the warning. You should get going. The owls are here for a reason, and we can't waste time. On Deathstroke. So we're gonna have to divide and conquer. I'll handle the mercenary, probably assassin, most likely. Very well. Be wary. Deathstroke is very dangerous. Are you sure, Batman? Deku is fully capable of handling himself. We have more pressing issues currently. Let's go, Batgirl. Good luck, Deku. Hopefully you don't get yourself killed. Deku kept Batman and Batgirl leaving in the corner of his eye, while keeping a clear view of Deathstroke. Once they left by their grappling hooks, leaving Deathstroke and Deku alone. I'm still surprised you would team up with the Bats of all people. I would rather work with someone like him. Have someone get in my way every step of the way. It's easier that way. That's understandable. He's a very stubborn opponent. Let's get this done. I have a job to do. I suppose you do. By chance, would you want to surrender peacefully before things get nasty? Not gonna happen. But thanks for the offer. I would ask you the same thing, but we both know that's not gonna happen. Me surrender? Not gonna happen, kid. But amusing. Very well. A battle is what you want, then a battle you shall receive. Deku created a long ice katana as Slade thin air as Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, unsheathed one of his katanas from his back. As they both get into their sword stance, gauging each other to see any flaws in their stance that they could capitalize on. The street of Old Gotham was deadly quiet, only sounds can be heard from both opponents with their tight-in grip on the handle of their swords. Well, Deku's more of a ice-looking handle than actual material, but nevertheless. A bat flew down across the battlefield. For this large chamber where the city is built in, has a large population of bats. The moment the animal flew away, Deku and Deathstroke charge each other as sparks were created once their two weapons collided with each other. The fact that Deku was able to make a spark with his ice sword is a testament of his skills wielding a blade. Somewhere in Old Gotham, Fox is trailing two females she was not familiar with. She came across the members of the League of Villains by pure chance and decided to shadow them to see where they go. Hopefully they lead her to something more interesting. She's hoping they have any connection to the Court of Owls. As you follow the two villainesses from the League of Villains directly to the main headquarters of the Court of Owls, surprisingly, two female villains stop in front of the huge stone temple with heavy presence of the Court of Owls guarding all the entry points to the temple. There's about 4 of them, and there's several placed snipers on top of the temple to mow down anyone that approach to a certain length. Luckily for the Leagues, they're currently out of their range. As you can see, a Talon or two patrolling the area around the temple. It seems like they finally notice us. How about you greet our new friends? As Shigaraki moved to the side, dodging a sniper shot that was about to hit her skull. It would be my pleasure. Dobby created a huge wave of blue fire, killing a large group of Court of Owls, then proceed to shoot out several miniature-sized fireballs at the snipers, cremated them immediately. Dobby had her quirk altered by All For One, giving her more control over long-distance attacks with her cremation fire. She's able to use with her fire quirk to kill snipers on the roof. That's the only reason why she was able to actually accomplish such a feat. Dobby was occupied by throwing fire at the Court of Owls. Shigaraki rushed forward, starting to decay one person after another, making physical contact by placing all 5 of her fingers onto their skin. She has complete control over how fast or slow the decay occurs once she places all 5 fingers on a human being or object. There's still much training she has to do with her quirk, but killing a person instantly is not too hard of a feat for her to accomplish. As she rushed forward and grabbed both of the Court of Owls by the face, after she ripped off their mask and plays all 5 fingers on both of their faces as she has a twisted smile on her face as the 2 men instantly were beginning to decay slowly at first, then it would start to speed up a little by little bit until there was nothing left. Any survivors? When do I ever leave survivors, Shigaraki? I guess that's true. There should be more entertainment inside as both girls stand in front of one of the entryway and proceed to enter the temple. That's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day. Those are my time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.